Hi everybody. It's time for Pacificus KAL Phase 3. I just woke up Sweeble from a nap in hopes that he would say hi to you guys, but he is clearly not in the mood and I am about to get my ass kicked. Hi, how are you doing? Hi, he's very scary. Do you want to look at everybody in the camera? Say hi. Oh, he's shy. Hi everybody. I tried to hold the cat for you. Welcome to Pacificus Knit Along Phase 3. I'm Lauren Elkin. I'm a knitwear designer. We're knitting Pacificus. This is the fingering weight version. You guys are mostly knitting the DK version right now. And I want to go over the things that you need to know for Phase 3. Not a lot to teach you on this phase. The last phase, Phase 2, had so many new skills in it, and I shot you a bunch of videos and people have been knitting along fabulously. It's been really fun to support you guys. And one of the things I've noticed with this knit along is I tend to shoot the phase videos right before they release so I can see what kind of questions are coming up and respond to them in the videos and make sure that you're getting the support that you need to knit your sweater successfully. So a few things came up. A few people jumped ahead because they just couldn't wait and they were done with Phase 2. So they ran into one or two things with Phase 3, which let me know how to help you on this phase. A few people, one or two people, found small errata in the written instructions of the pattern. So when this Phase 3 came out, I've corrected those in the written instructions for the charts. One thing you should know is that the charts are always correct in the pattern, in my patterns. So I always work from my charts and then I write the written instructions afterwards. So it makes sense if there's a mistake, that's human error right there. And even though everything is tech edited and test knit, and I try to find test knitters who work from written instruction and not from chart, still tiny little things sneak through sometimes. So I'm super sorry about that, but those have been updated in the latest pattern. And if you ever have any question, just refer to the chart because the chart is always correct. I hope that helps and makes sense to you all. If I'm looking down, it's because I have notes right in front of me right here. So what you're going to be doing for Phase 3 is working through page 5 of the pattern. You're going to be splitting for the neckline and working the front and back of the necklines across to the left shoulder point. So this part of the sweater is Phase 3. Remember, you're working side to side. So in Phase 2, you worked up to this point right here, and then you're splitting for the front and the back. You will notice on the chart in particular that this point where you split is exactly the middle stitch of the lace pattern that's coming up here. So if you are doing the small and you have 51 stitches, there's 25 stitches for the front, 25 stitches for the back, and that middle stitch is where you're incorporating the new ball of yarn. So you're going to end up working with 2 balls of yarn, one for the front and one for the back, and that middle stitch you knit into the stitch with the front ball of yarn, and then you knit into the back of the stitch with the second ball of yarn, and that's explained in the pattern. And what that does is split you, so you have 1 ball of yarn working the front and 1 ball of yarn working the back. I promise if you follow it exactly as it is written, it will totally work. You've got a choice with Phase 3. You can decide to work across the front and leave the back stitches and not work them. So work across the front first, put those on a holder, go back and work on the back, or you can choose to work across the front and the back at the same time. That's what I do. I tend to just have the 2 balls of yarn going and I work both of them at the same time. I find that's easier. With this phase, it is really important at this step that you make sure you are working the directions for the size that you're making. So sizes 1, 3, 5, and 7 have 1 sets of charts and written instructions, and sizes 2, 4, 6, and 8 have a different set of chart and different written instructions. So make sure you're following the right ones. Again, you are working flat, so right side rows are worked from right to left, wrong side rows are read left to right. You can see where the split happens in your neckline right there in the middle of the chart here. I'll bring it a little closer. So the split happens right at that point right there. The winner for phase 2 is announced over in the Ravelry group in the phase 2 thread. So you can go check that to see if you won Renata's beautiful pottery. Next week's prize is a $50 gift certificate or purchase, like any item. She doesn't actually have gift certificates, so I'll have to work that out with you, to my friend Laurel O'Brien's jewelry shop. And some of you might be familiar with Laurel O'Brien's work because she's come to Knit Ithaca and sold her jewelry for the last few years. And I've done a few giveaways with it in the past, but her jewelry is the jewelry I wear the most on a daily basis. It just really fits my aesthetic. And she is the sister of my friend Hickory, who used to run a knitting store in Ithaca that is no longer open. So I've known Laurel and Hickory for a very long time, actually, and I love Laurel's work. So that is the giveaway this week. Your goal with phase 3 is to work all the way through page 5 again, so you're just working the front and the back separately, and then on phase 4 we'll be rejoining for the left shoulder. If you want to jump ahead, that's totally fine. Just take pictures as you're going. You can tell what all the phases are in the tips and tricks thread, so you've got that. Just take pictures so you can post for each giveaway as they're happening. And don't worry if you fall behind. There's no falling behind here. All the assets will always be there for you to use. You just might not be eligible for the prize that week. Sorry, the cat got hair all over me and I'm itching it off. Let's see. So if you fall behind, we have plenty of time to catch up. You don't have to be done till the end of May. So you are fine. I think actually I've got that date. Finished sweaters, May 31st. End of May. Perfect. I have seen some good questions about weaving in ends and finishing, and I'll be covering that when we get to the finishing phase. But if you search in the phase 2 thread, if you just search weaving in ends, there's been some pretty good tips and tricks that people have already posted about that, and I'll be paying attention to those and wrapping them all up together when we get to that point at the end of the sweater. So I'm aware of all of that. Don't worry about it. That's all I have for you for phase 3. This was a really quick one. I can't believe I put on makeup and I kind of did my hair. I am wearing a scrunchie my friend Andrea made me. It's knit with some Jill Draper yarn. She gave it to me at Rhinebeck. It's a knit scrunchie. Kind of gotta love the knit scrunchie. I'm still wearing my yoga pants because I have a yoga class this afternoon. So I kind of did from here up. It's looking good for video, and I'm just really honest with you guys. Thank you so much. I'm having such a good time with this knit along, and if you're over in the Ravelry threads, you will have noticed that we also just started another knit along as well. That's for any one of my designs or anybody else's designs. Just a place to be together and be knitting together. Okay, hope you guys are all doing well. I can't wait to see your phase 3s whip off your needles. Thank you.